Oh, hello there. Would you like to hear another story and another introspection upon others that critique my dear beloved childish simpleton? Why don't you take a seat right there in that lovely chair, and today we will talk about some interesting things regarding other people that do the same craft as I. Now let's talk about Cubans. Cubans are very hard-working, persevering people. They are willing to swim miles upon miles to get to America away from their shitty country. They are willing to be hard-working, US citizens after they integrate themselves, even illegally. It doesn't matter. And our perfect example of the day is one that is known as a Dr. of Fucks. One that has not only immensely influenced in the most positive way the album reviewing community, but he has also inspired the music reviewing podcast community by a shitload, and even has his own band. This man does not stop with making metal media. He is a goddamn monster. And we are diving into the Cuban madman, the Dr. of Fucks.
So at our last episode when we talked about the balding man of the cover killing of natures, today we're actually going to talk about a channel that is far fucking from Cover Killer Nation in both being popular and actually being quality. Sadly though, our society would rather watch this fucking egghead over a man by the name of Dr. Fukk, the elusive Dr. of Fucks that has gone by many usernames on YouTube. However, all of his review channels and even all of his podcasts and other forms of media have kicked fucking ass. Most people might know him from his notorious pizza thrash band known as Thrash or Die. Or you'll know him as Almost Human 56 for his Kiss reviews, as the Eternal Idols for his Black Sabbath reviews, etc, etc. This man has many channels which we will all link in the description of this video. And you will see that it is a fucking sea of channels. But if you are going to learn from the master, if you're going to rip anyone off, at least rip off someone as quality as Dr. Fukk. This man's name is Ralph Viera, and he acquired a massive amount of skill in the editing field of using Sony Vegas to edit album reviews.
The way I started editing was a complete fluke because a buddy of mine hooked me up with Sony Vegas, and I have like a gazillion VHS tapes that, he helped me convert to DVD. And with Vegas, you're able to make menus and you can make moving menus. He taught me all that shit. So what I would do with the menus, that I would use like video clips of the actual DVD I'm doing and add music to it. And then I figured out how to sync it, so then I started making, like a minute video of the thing syncing. And then it finally dawned on me. I go, man, I can make music videos. And I made a ton of videos that were very much distributed a lot through the bootleg market, because back then I didn't really have a great job. And yes, I was a bootlegger. I used to go film shows and sell VHS tapes, and I made quite a few bucks doing that. It was like my main source of income back then. And then I figured out how to make videos. So then I started making these DVD compilation videos of separate bands, a Kiss one, and they got really circulated a lot. And then I finally figured out how to render a file to put it on YouTube, because back then I was rendering on a different type of file, an MP2 or something like that, and it wouldn't. YouTube wouldn't accept it. At first, I was just putting up my videos, and then I thought, I was watching reviews on YouTube, and they were all so, just a guy sitting in his living room and no music or nothing playing. I said, man, I can make a better review than that. And I started with my favorite band, Black Sabbath, and the Eternal Idols channel, and I just reviewed all the Black Sabbath albums, and then I started branching out to other bands.
He used this editing software to make fantastic album reviews that inspired the likes of a channel such as the Downfall Network, which sucks, and other channels like the Rageaholic. His Metal Mythos series is highly inspired by, of course, Ralph Viera. Ralph Viera is a patrician metalhead that throughout the years had acquired a hell of a catalog of music and metal especially. He first came onto YouTube doing a couple random things here and there. It's never really been clear what he first started as, but I believe his beginnings were doing some sort of editing for his own music videos for songs that didn't originally have music videos, and he also did some just random funny videos with his friends. However, he was in these early stages showing off his good editing skills and his taste for music. Although he didn't initially start with album reviewing, he had been around the scene for a very long time on YouTube. But when he came onto the album reviewing scene, he had pretty much came from nothing. He didn't know any of these album reviewers. He just decided, I want to talk about Black Sabbath or Kiss, just bands he really liked, and use his editing skills that he developed from making his own music videos and make fantastic album reviews. His very first channel, the channel I discovered him on, The Eternal Idols, where Ralph Viera reviews Black Sabbath and a bunch of related bands such as Ozzy, Dio, and Rainbow, all sorts of awesome stuff.
My whole concept was to do every single Sabbath album because to that, when I started doing that channel, at that point, I loved all the Sabbath albums, you know. I mean, Forbidden, not so much, but I still like some of it. So yeah, my whole goal was to do every single Sabbath album.
Then he started to spread out a bit. He did a miscellaneous album reviewing channel where he discussed some metal and some more hard rock bands than Lizzy, AC/DC, Exodus, Iron Maiden, etc. This is probably my favorite channel of his because it's easily his most diverse channel and the channel that got me into more underground bands. Then Ralph converted one of his channels, Almost Human 56, which he was making a lot of Kiss music videos for, to a Kiss album reviewing channel.
My Kiss one, and you know, funny thing is, Kiss is not even in my top 10 favorite bands, but I love them, you know. That channel's insane, you know, it's like 6 million views, 6,000 subscribers, and it's like, the Black Sabbath is like, you know, I don't even know how many subscribers, but I know it's not even half that, maybe 1,000 or 2,000, you know, at the most, and the views aren't as much, you know, it's weird, it's strange how, you know, Kiss got this crazy following, and for the most part they're cool, but boy, they have a lot of retards there too, you know.
Yeah.
Because you know, if you don't like anything, if you dislike one Kiss song, you're not a Kiss fan. To these sheep, you know.
This channel is by far his most popular one because Kiss fans are fucking fanatical. It was around this time that Ralph and his friends formed a thrash band known as Thrash or Die. Now, this isn't like a band retrospect or anything, but it's kind of important to the story considering that's how he got his name known within the scene on YouTube. You know, people knew him from his band, which was a notorious band. A lot of people bashed them. In fact, they, for the longest time, were notorious for having the 0% review for the first album in Metal Archives. Now, the reason this is also significant is because they also have music videos on YouTube that are pretty fucking hilarious. Then Ralph started to spread out a little bit, doing his own solo podcast, doing a movie reviewing channel, etc., etc. Now, Ralph also made a big impact in the rock and metal podcast realm, where he started a podcast called, you guessed it, the Rock and Metal Combat Podcast. I don't know what the point of the combat part was. They should just called it the Rock and Metal Podcast. Anyways, this podcast has a huge cult following. The fans absolutely love the show, and the show has been running for a good long time now, and it is still a pretty damn funny show where Ralph and his buddy Ian still shoot the shit for hours on end.
He just wrote me one day that he loved my reviews. I never saw the message because I didn't know how to check messages on the Black Sabbath board, and he told me this. Then, you know, he joined my Almost Human Facebook page, and because of Bob Nalbamian, actually, he had this podcast called Skull Session that I was like, God, I want to start a podcast. So I wrote that on Facebook. Hey, dude, I want to start a podcast. Then Ian said, hey, if I can set everything up, would you want to do it? I was like, yeah. And I didn't know who the fuck Ian was. And I hit the lotto because I think Ian is probably one of the funniest people I ever met in my life, and he's...
Oh my God. This shit almost made Bruce Jenner dress like a man. Again, this is terrible, terrible song.
You know, there's and what I think is so great about our podcast is that, man, we are so different when it comes to music. I mean, sometimes we agree, but man, most of the times it's like he likes the song on the album I hate, and vice versa. And you know, the funny thing is he gets a little touchy about it, and it gets funny when he gets really, you know, because when he gets really drunk, he gets very sensitive when I like something like Memory Remains from Metallica. I know it's weird that I like that song. I shouldn't, because it's stupid, but something about that song I fucking love. Man, Ian, you got to listen to that episode, the Reload. He went off on how, you know, disappointed he is on me, and you know, it's just, and he gets very, very irate when I love stuff he hates, you know, and I love that, and people love it. People love, you know, what we're doing. We may not have like the biggest numbers, but we have the most fanatical. I think it's been proven. It has been proven that we have the most fanatical fan base, because when the Rock and Pod Expo has donations, we kill everybody. We get the most money because our listeners would kill for us, you know?
Fucking awesome. And that video fucking owns, matching the creepiness of the song. I love every single second of the song. And it's a masterpiece to me. And I know, you're not alone, Ian. Everybody hates this fucking song. I don't care.
But you said you didn't like it at first, but
yeah,
you
I
like
did.
it now?
Yeah, I didn't.
When did it change for you? Did it take a long time?
No,
or?
I don't think it did take a long time. I think it was after the video. Oh, wait, no, was the first video of the album. Maybe it was, I don't know, maybe a few months later when I heard it. Like, I know it hit me when I heard it. You know, I was like, oh, man, you know what? This is not that bad. And then the more I got into it, I was like, dude, this is awesome. Now I'm at the point where it's like, this is a fucking masterpiece. I love Memory Remains.
Oh, you're a funny dude. You're a funny dude.
Thank you, Cure fan.
That's it for Ralph Viera, Dr. Fukk, and his channels. People should take notes and stop being inspired by people that do nothing but lazily sit in front of the camera and pander. Take notes. This man refuses to fucking pander.
Crazy, Crazy Nights. It's a shitty song.
You know, cocaine, when you first start doing it, it might be great. It's great. You know, you do coke and then you write fucking songs like Snowblind and Supernaut. It's like incredible. But man, the more you do it, it gets worse and worse, and you end up so down that you end up writing Rock and Roll Doctor.
I am about to review, what is it, the 15th studio album. I'm talking about that piece of shit, Hot in the Shade.
And this is Dana Strum of the Vinny Vincent Invasion.
And look how stupid we look. We think pink looks good on us because we are a couple of ass nuggets. I'm Vinny. I'm stupid.
This man actually has charisma and comedy. This man actually fucking edits his videos and adds quality to them. And most importantly, his videos are actually worth watching multiple times. And I would argue that in many cases his reviews and his episodes are much more fucking interesting than whatever he's talking about.
That is it. Now Ralph has many channels. All of them will be linked in the description, all of them for different things. Hopefully one day he makes a channel where they're all in one thing and he'll get the recognition he truly deserves as the most important metal reviewer around, and he should be the most popular around. But until he unites all of his channels in one round table, his channel and his personality on YouTube will never be one complete circle. But all of the pieces are worth investigating.
Subscribe to the Downfall Network.